True Issues with Uncle Bigg Chuck, your grandmama's favorite son.
The Union Music Group, baby.
Oh, yeah. And I'll be coming at you live. Stand by, hang tight, hold on to your wigs. It's about to go down.
Welcome to the jungle of public opinions. Cigars lit, Hennessy poured, let's talk. True Issues, savagely unbiased.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Uncle Bigg Chuck, and I'm coming live at you today. We're going to have a lot of folks with us today. We're going to have Mr. Willie Knight, the Reverend Willie Knight, and we got local activist, Miss Nikki White. So, don't get in your feelings. Don't get upset. Just stand by to be stand by. We're going to talk about some things that affect you. You know Uncle Chuck loves you. Here we go. What's going on, family? What's going on? What's up, Nikki? What's up there, Mr. Willie Knight?
Hey, Doc. We chilling, Doc. We chilling.
Oh man, it's a pleasure and an honor to have y'all two in my little squalor. But we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty. We're gonna get down to the what ifs and what ifs, and we're gonna talk about what needs to be talked about.
Yes, sir.
We don't owe nobody nothing.
Hey.
So let's do what we do. All right. Kick off your shoes, Mr. Willie Knight, and Nikki, get yourself comfortable. Let's talk. Let's talk about this thing. Like I say, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you guys both in my little spot here. And I want to welcome you guys to the True Issues family. And we're going to grow. We're going to get bigger and every day, and we're going to do a lot of things. We might get mad at each other. We might fuss and fight. But at the end of the day, it's all for a common cause.
Okay.
Our people. Us. So, Mr. Willie Knight, give me a little bit of background about yourself, sir.
Okay, that's cool. I'm born here in Montgomery, Alabama. Father was former military. He's a retired FBI agent. I've lived in Massachusetts, Arizona, New York. I'm back here. I've been back in Montgomery since '94. I'm a father of 5. I am the current sitting pastor at the North Montgomery Baptist Church, located right there in Newtown, downtown Montgomery. And I've ran for city council in districts 3 and 6. And I continue to, to fight actively hard for the people. I am a voice for the voiceless. I also consider myself an activist for school kids and those that have been victimized by the system. I try to fix that. I try to be a voice for those that have been overlooked.
Right.
And I'm just a straight shooter. I mean, if you ask it, I'm going to tell it. If you don't want to know, then don't ask.
Okay. Well, shoot. Like I said, I've been knowing you for, oh my gosh, let me see here. I've been knowing you probably, let me see, this year, 2019. I've been knowing you probably about 20, 24, 25 years. I met you through my baby sister, and ever since then, boy, you've been a handful. So it ain't no secret. And then you got Miss Nikki White. Now, I have to apologize first because I didn't let the ladies go first. But in this arena, everybody for themselves. So give us a little bit about you, Miss Nikki White.
What can I say? I'm from Montgomery, left and went to Job Corps, and ended up staying in Memphis and going to college. Mom got sick, came back, and it's like I've been stuck ever since. I'm the oldest of four, and I'm a wife. I feel like I'm a good-hearted person, but I just don't like to be pushed, and I like fairness. Point blank.
Wow. Well, you being now. I tell a lot of people, if you look at a man's hand is supposed to be rough and not supple. If you look at a woman's hand, it's supposed to be soft and caressing. So when you say you're a mother and you care more about a lot of things than most men would care about because you're a mother, and you don't want to see your seed or anybody else's seed go to waste. And I understand that.
Correction, Chuck. I'm a big sister.
Oh, you're a big sister.
Yeah, I take care of my sister. I've been had my sister ever since 2013 when my mom passed. So, but it's just like, having a child, especially with her being disabled. So, that's a full-time job. But I don't complain.
Well, the Lord don't put nothing on you that you can't bear.
Right.
So there's a reason why you're in that position.
I know it.
And that's a position you got to cherish and hold with the utmost respect.
And I do.
So I mean, you just can't say what when it comes to a nurturing person, what limits are. It's just a nurturing person.
Yeah.
Well, since we're gonna talk about nurturing, two things happened this week that's a milestone. Now, let's say 1817, when Montgomery, the cradle of the Confederacy, was founded. It was founded back when, when. We're not going to talk about that because that's that.
Okay.
And we're now. Okay, but you just got your first black mayor. I'm not going to say Afro-American. I'm going to say black mayor because the reason why I say that, because everybody got a little something in them. Everybody got a little, if you stir that pot, you're going to find out that the one that's been calling you out your name may be your first cousin.
Okay.
And then also, one of the most heralded separatists, I can say that, died a couple years back. His first biracial daughter, she died today. She was 87. That Strong Norman, his daughter died. And a lot of people put that up like, oh, well, she was old. No, she died and he hid it. So that lets you know Klan members and all them, they still was going into the chicken coop, so to speak.
What?
So we all mix with something. We all got a little something in us, and why we all separating ourselves from whatever, it's crazy. Then you got Trump that said to 300 students that was there for a conference, he said, I bet you didn't know that this country was founded on the backs of your ancestors. It's like, whoa, we already knew that. But now he's like, I'm giving you some information like he's teaching us something. You can't teach us nothing that we already know.
Was it an actual teaching moment, or was it a rub it in your face moment?
I don't know what it was. You went dead on my mic there.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. I can
yeah,
hear you now.
Yeah. Was it a teaching moment or a slap you in the face moment? You said something. Montgomery, for the first time in 200 years, have finally elected a black mayor, not an African American, because the Bible says, "Can't no man be two continents." You're actually the seed of your father. But I will go on by saying this. It's long overdue. it's long overdue. And to be honest with you, Tuesday night I saw some stuff right here in Montgomery that I had never seen in 30 plus years of my life. I seen blatant, and we've all experienced racism to a degree. We all have. But boy, for that moment, for that one moment, I was exposed to something that I'd never seen before. And it's just, it's an eye opener. And if more blacks could have seen what I saw, that would make us put the guns down and make us realize who your real enemy really is. This system that we're a part of, that we're under, we didn't create this. We were brought over and placed under this. And after 200 years, people still believe Barack Obama was the first black president, but we had one before him named John Hanson.
Okay, okay. Now, hold on now. Back up. Now, I've been there, and I tell a lot of people they need to go. When you walk through the halls of the White House, there's a bus that's sitting there in the hall. There's a bus. And below that bus, it has John Henson. Mm-hmm. And then it also says architect. Now, people say, was he the guy that helped design the White House? No. He didn't design the White House. He was the architect of freedom. Uh-huh. John Henson had a friend. Well, he had a friend that Daddy owned some ships. His friend was Dutch. And when they got in trouble, they called on John Henson, told Ben Franklin, I can get us some ships. He said, who? Do that for me. John Henson didn't have a phone, didn't have no cell phone, no telegraph. He went and found his friend and said, hey, we need some ships, the fastest ones you got. And he gave him 8 ships. But they don't teach that in school. So let me get off that. So I'm sorry.
You all right?
Go back to what you were saying.
I was simply saying, this is just yet another milestone in black history, because and what people don't realize, Stephen Reed actually made history twice. He became the first black probate judge, and then he turned around and became the first black mayor in the same city. Never before has something like that happened. But the reason why it's something that need to be taught is because one thing about history, if it's not taught, it's forgotten. And in certain history, if it's not taught, it's repeated. And, just like I say, when he won Tuesday night, man, it was like, and I tell everybody, I didn't vote for him the first go round. I was a J.C. Love guy because he had a pretty good plan. And I liked that Victor is Felder, but I supported J.C. Love the first time. But the second time, look, I got behind Stephen Reed, and a lot of other people did. And it wasn't all blacks. It was a lot of whites, too, because everybody was looking for a change. And one thing about it, I mean, the choice was pretty clear. Either we can go with the same old under David Woods. I mean, a person with no kind of background and education. Montgomery is notorious for being ran by just plain people. If you remember Emmett Farmer, he was a construction worker. He was a construction worker.
Among other things.
Among other things.
Okay.
And then we had Bobby Bright, who was probably one of the most crooked attorneys we could have ever had, because he was so smart. He marked down everything downtown on his way out and bought it up and turned it into the lofts, which a lot of people don't know. Mm-hmm. Todd Strange was just the old car salesman. You remember Blunt Strange Motors? Mm-hmm. That was Todd Strange them. So we went from a construction worker to a lawyer to a car salesman. Why not give this guy with 2 degrees, one from Morehouse, one from Vanderbilt, a try.
Back up. Hold on. Skirt. Pump your brakes.
Yes, sir.
I give you Morehouse. I'm gonna give you that one, okay? But you said Vanderbilt. Dummies can't go to Vanderbilt.
No.
Not Southern dummies. Vanderbilt is real strict about it. Even their athletes have to have a certain GPA.
That's the Harvard of the South.
Okay, not go further.
Yeah.
Go on with it now.
And well, let me fix it. In order to get into Vanderbilt, like you said, it puts you in the mind of Harvard. It is almost on the line of an Ivy League school. Mm-hmm. Some would consider it. So it was just kind of mind-boggling when you had people around here. They were like, when it pertained to black people in the South, they will use anything to try to discredit you. But through it all, this young brother survived it. And I tell you something that really bothered me, and I know I got some people on my live watching, and we got millions of people listening through the podcast. Still in 2019, black people's biggest problems are other black people.
That's right.
Because we have been trained and taught to not stick together, to not support each other, to look down on each other. When you look at the black family, and see, we can talk now. All the things are off.
Yeah.
The black family is the most destroyed thing out there. When you look at it, who defames their women more than we do? Nobody. Who tears down black men quicker than black women do? Nobody. And when the men and the women are not together, we can't come together to raise our kids. But I said it to say this, when I was looking at Stephen when he was running, it was blacks that were tearing him down. When Obama was running, it was Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton that tore him down. We had a black guy running for governor here in Alabama. It was the blacks that tore him down, Arthur Davis. So, we've always had blacks that have always tried to strive to make things better for other blacks, but we are so conditioned. Willie Lynch lives so deep in our blood. We would try to kill each other before we help each other.
Don't forget about that plantation syndrome.
Yeah, they got it. I mean, black people truly believe if it ain't white, it ain't right. And, I was at the gas station, and y'all, bear with me a second. I was at the gas station Monday morning, and we were just talking about the voting and possibly making history in Montgomery, and I can't figure this out for the life of me. And it was a lady that was in line, and we were buying coffee, and, she got upset when we were talking about, the chances of us getting a black mayor. And what I've learned, older blacks are extremely jealous of younger blacks because they felt like they should have been the ones to make history. But my mom and my dad made a way for me to come through and make history and for me to lay the path so that my daughters and my kids can come behind me and make history. See, we weren't taught that. The black family weren't taught how to teach their kids about entrepreneurship. The black person's mind is messed up right now. We'll go and stand in line and buy some J's for 2 days if we had to, but we won't stand in a line to vote for 15 minutes. We'll stand in line to go and buy some J's if we had, and these ain't all kids doing it. You got some adults out there. They are pawn car titles and everything.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
I don't buy them. Okay, never bought them for my kids. The average income in Alabama is what?
Maybe 30,000, I think.
30,000?
That's no.
It's
the
less than
average
that.
probably about 20. I'll say about 20.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. A pair of J's costs how much?
About $300.
Okay, so you're making $20,300. That's less than 2% of your income.
Right.
Is it really? And if you got one or two or more kids, and then J's come out like 3 or 4 times a year.
Right.
So let's say you buy all 3 sections of them, and they $300, and they 4 times a year. That's $1,200.
But you got to look at something though, Chuck. Blacks' priorities are messed up. We feel like buying J's is a level of success, but really, what is success? Success is when you can comfortably pay your bills and still have some money left over. But we spend our resource. Black people are the biggest consumers, but yet we have nothing to show for it. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, so I'm going to explain it.
Okay.
We spend so much time buying stuff that we don't need to try to impress people that we don't like, using money that we don't have. That is the definition of insanity. Now, it's easy to beat up on the black preacher. Oh, all y'all want is something. No. I'm trying to teach you how to survive. What is success? Success is buying a house, owning a house, buying a car, having some money left over to where, as we would call it, the rainy day fund. Preferably not making babies all over the city so your money won't be spread out, but keeping your money in the house. A two income working home. Okay. It helps lighten the burdens. But you know, we're so messed up because both parties, men and women, priorities are jacked up. We spend all our money with people and races of people that don't really care about us. Man, I was in Walmart. I told Nikki about it. And the Asian dude was buying some baskets of like nail polish, right? So, and I'm looking at him, and he seen that I was looking at him kind of crazy. And I just went here and broke the ice. I asked, you know, what you finna do with all that? He told me one bottle brings him back right at about $400. He said, because, and you're laughing. You know, he told me, he said, what you do, this was right after Valentine's Day. He told me he only worked Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. This man said he made 6 figures painting nails. So, you know, I walked around Walmart, and I'm looking down because he said, man, every time you see women, because women spend more money than men. He said, that's $80. Because I never knew how much the stuff costs. I don't go and get it, so I wouldn't know. And I got to looking, and you think about it. Most of these girls that are spending out $80, what if, and black people are the most talented people that are walking the face of the earth today. What if we started what if we started opening our own businesses, and what if we started supporting our own?
Okay, I'm going to stop you. I know where you're going, but I'm going to stop you. Let me tell you why I'm going to stop you. If you open a nail shop, 2 things going to happen. Number 1, I'm not going to patronize you because you're black.
Right.
Number 2, I'm going to talk bad about you so my friend won't patronize you.
That's that Willie Lynch.
Number 3, I may have never been to your shop before, but I'm going to go find somebody that know you. If you lived in California and moved here tomorrow, and I'm going to find somebody in California know you and going to talk about you.
Right.
So I'm going to systematically destroy your business before you even open, not even giving you an opportunity to make money. And you could be like one of them kind of people that donate half of your income to some charity.
Man, I look at this, and you're right. Like, we do not pay, and that's another thing that's hurting us because the Willie Lynch syndrome lives. We refuse to spend money with each other. You know, and it's kind of crazy.
I think that's a fear of the next person getting ahead before you. When we have, black people have businesses, then you look and see how they operate, and then they want to come in and ask for a discount right off. Let me turn profit first. Let me get in the neighborhood good. Let me get dust on some of this stuff in here before you ask for a discount. But other people tell them it's $150. They gonna come out with them $150 and it's nothing. And I think that destroys us because we don't patronize one another.
You know, you got some blacks, just like whites. You walk in there and you get the most piss poor customer service, and then it carries over into the other one, and then it carries over to the other. So you.
I mean, but that's not all cases because, and let me give you an example, right? Right here in Montgomery, we had a local grocery store by the name of Calhoun.
Okay.
And black people, talked so bad about Calhoun to the point it was utterly ridiculous. And let me show you something. If I said I want to be able to prove, I want to show you something. If you got some bad meat from Calhoun, and it's possible, you take it back up there, they look at it, they tell you to go get some else. You get some bad meat from Walmart, you got to get a sticker when you walk in the door. You got to have the receipt. And then you got to have an ID just to give them back something that they sold you that was no good.
But that's when you get a gift card. I mean, yeah, Walmart asks for the receipts, but if you don't have the receipt, they'll give you a gift card.
Right. Now, you got to go through all that when we can just keep our money in, in black businesses. And the thing about it, if you support our own business, then in return, we can put money back into the community. Now, the reason why it hadn't been done is because the theory has never been tested and the system has never been tried. We still do not believe in each other. Still in 2019, we don't believe. I know several young guys, several young women that have inspiring ideas. You got some guys that are good with their hands. They can fix a car, can probably hook a AA battery up to a Honda Accord and make it run.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll never get that break. Black people, they got us stuck in a box. If we're not shucking and jiving in entertainment, then we got to have a ball in our hand.
You have no value to it.
And if we don't have a ball in our hand and we ain't entertaining, then we have no place. You think about it. All of your black role models got to have some type of, they want to make Tyler Perry a doggone role model, a man that made his living by wearing a dress. And you wonder why half of your boys are sissies. You look at the ball players. My son, if I had a boy, the only way he can make it is if he played some type of sports. What about him using his brain? What about us teaching our kids?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Read down. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever talked to a drug dealer?
I talked to plenty of them.
Okay. A drug dealer, believe it or not, if he can read and write, he can get a doctorate in pharmacology.
It's his record that's going to hold him back.
Okay. But let's just say before he get to that point, before he got a felony, before he get to that point, if a drug dealer can tell you he can break down a pound of weed down to ounces, down to grams in his head,
Can be a chemist.
Can be a chemist, can be a pharmacist.
All of your drug dealers can be a chemist.
Okay.
Because they know how to break it down.
Okay. The applied of quick money and applied of flash, that's what kills a lot of them because if you look at a crow will go all day long and look for shiny stuff.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people look for. They look for that shiny stuff. They don't want to get that work involved. But at the same time, you got to look at their role models. And first of all, I have no problem with Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry saw a niche. He took it. He ran with it.
I have a problem with him, and I'm going to tell you why.
And if he's gay, that's his business. But he had a niche. But here's the catch to it. He's beat them at their own game.
No, did he really?
I feel like he had.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you he hadn't. I'm gonna tell you why I say Tyler Perry has not beaten them at their own game.
Okay.
Name one white celebrity that is in the field with Tyler Perry that had to make his living by wearing a dress. Take your time on it, because see, one thing about
Robin Williams.
No.
Doubtfire.
That's a movie.
No. But see, listen now. He can go make that movie and make $6, $30, $40, $50 million in one scoop. Tyler Perry go make a movie, he make $3 million, $2 million. He put together. I would not sit there and say off the rip that he can't, that he shouldn't.
No, he probably he can, but that's not what he did. Robin Williams did one movie, Miss Doubtfire, right? And still in that movie, he was dressing up as a woman so he can have a relationship with his kids. See, I watched that movie.
Okay.
Medea did not dress up as a woman so she could deal with kids. Medea dressed up as a woman, and so she could just act a fool. And that's the difference. See, when you look at the role models they give our kids now, They're faggots. I mean, and I know I shouldn't be saying it, but it is what it is. Let's look at it for what it is. They are gay. They're pushing that crap off onto our kids. And we don't have enough men with backbones to stand up and say that this is wrong. Then you wonder why your why your daughters ain't got nobody to marry that look like them. Because, you know what? The guys don't have nobody to teach them what a man is supposed to do. I remember growing up, we had TV shows like The Huxtables, where there was a doctor in the house, a lawyer in the house, and they had all their kids in the house.
Hold on now. I got to shoot at you. Okay. For years and years, I didn't like Bill Cosby outside of his roles.
Okay.
Because the way he talked to people, like, he was telling you to get your stuff together, but his approach was wrong. But then he gave the money to the other people.
Right.
All right. Now, just like all these other people out there doing what they got to do, because remember now, he came up during the era of free love and
cocaine area.
Yeah, he came up. Okay. So now, when he made that move to become bigger than he was, a bigger executive, then they start putting up stuff. The charges he got against him was already adjudicated and handled and closed. But they brought it back because they changed the law on the statute of limitations on rape. They changed the law.
You got to keep in mind, Bill Cosby, some people were saying he was on the verge of trying to buy a TV station. NBC. I'm not sure about that, but you got to look at it. They had to tear down the character of the only positive role model we had besides George Jefferson. And look, let's take that.
No, but you keep forgetting. What did Dick Gregory tell y'all 15, 20 years ago? His exact words were, "They gonna get him." He kept saying, "They gonna get him."
Well, I mean, we all know that, but you know what? He didn't have a base. He didn't have no support. You know what?
Who didn't have support?
Bill Cosby didn't have no real support.
Bill Cosby had a lot of support, but Bill Cosby's situation was when Bill started shooting his neighbors that was helping him, then everybody stepped away from him. A lot of people came to his aid and said, "Hey, let's take care of this, let's do this." Bill was a singularity man. He wanted to do things his way because he was Bill Cosby. Nobody knew better than a Jello man. So when they went at him, they put him out there by himself.
And it's kind of crazy, you know, what they did to Bill Cosby, right? Mm-hmm. Something that happened 30 plus years ago when, I mean, it's crazy.
Okay.
But I want to go back to something. I don't want to get off track.
Oh, you good?
Look at the role models that I had growing up. George Jefferson. George Jefferson told us, he taught us how to really, truly stand your ground.
I wouldn't use George, though.
Him and James.
I wouldn't use George.
Him and James Evans from the Good Times.
Okay, but I wouldn't use George, though.
George used to coon out sometimes.
But George also was gay.
Not on that show.
No, but he played a part of a straight man.
But we talking about on the show, the role models.
But that's the catch, though. We put a lot of faith in the man that's in front of us, but at the end of the day, he want to go home. A lot of good example. A lot of your big time rappers, they portray the hood life. But when they go home, they talk with the proper English.
Well, and let's look at that.
It's a role.
Young Jeezy's son just graduated from college, but he's telling your sons to sell dope. But you know what? That's our fault because we're not monitoring what we are allowing our kids to listen to. And it goes back to something, society. If a man is not in entertainment, then he really doesn't have a place. You know, and then look at them. You got millions of rappers. Everybody's saying the same few things. Either they talking about selling drugs that they don't have. They're talking about pulling a lick, which will probably get you locked up. Mm-hmm. They dogging out your women.
Well, let me ask you a question then.
Yes, sir.
How would you make digging the ditch look good?
You can't.
Okay. So with these people out here, that your daddy and whatever, the garbage man,
yeah,
or he dig a ditch, and his son wants to be like somebody else but not him, then
we got to take our house back because a lot of times the dad is not in the house. And it goes back to something that I said earlier. The men and the women are at odds right now. Mm-hmm. The black family is destroyed. You line you can get 10 kids and line them up. I guarantee you at least 7 of the 10, their parents are not together and they don't talk, they don't communicate for the betterment of that child. So this child is being raised by social media and the streets. He or she has no heroes. You want to know why these girls are dressing are they coming out half naked? It's because they learning that from their mama and the streets. Kids mimic what they see. And especially if there's nobody there to correct, some of these mothers, not all. You want to know why these boys are lost? You want to know why these boys are lost? Ask how many of them was the last time you talked to your daddy. Granted, he's not locked up or dead or just a flat-out deadbeat. So, the black family has been destroyed. And you know what's so crazy? Nobody is in church. Nobody has a relationship with God. It was 30 years ago, they were building schools and less prison. They took God out of school. 30 years later, they're building more prisons and they're shutting down more schools. You tell me what the problem is.
Well, I don't. I'll be honest with you. When they separated school and church and that was one thing. But like I know, go back 30 years ago. 30 years ago, they wrote the new crime bill.
Right.
Okay, because big companies and everybody, including your favorite president, everybody used to love Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, along with Joe Biden, they authored the crime bill. Okay, and the crime bill came out to say, well, dang, it's more lucrative to have inmates than to have free citizens.
Right.
So the school system was perfect back then, but it wasn't generating revenue at the bottom end dollar. And then too many of you guys
were coming out smart
and voting.
Right.
So now, when they built the system, and now that system is already at a breaking point, now it's more like it's justification for shooting and killing you because you guys are animals, you're hoodlums, you don't want to listen, you run wild, you're rampant. When everything is right in front of you, they don't listen. So when you say they destroyed something, we got to take ownership in the part that we destroyed as well.
But you got to keep in mind, we do have to take accountability and responsibility for our parts. But when you're blinded from the jump and you don't really understand right from wrong, where do you start? And like I said, the thing was, if you destroy if you can mess up the man, you can destroy the family. And you know what? You got to think about it. Look what happened when crack cocaine hit our community. It destroyed the black family forever. It's gonna take a while. And if what I'm saying is wrong, explain to me this. And y'all that's listening, explain to me this. Why do you think white people were raising hell when them kids was falling out with that fake weed and stuff they was smoking? I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. It's that Space. Because they understood that stuff had the potential to do to their community what crack cocaine did to ours. So white people went ballistic with that Space stuff. When them folks were smoking that stuff and passing out and hallucinating, they knew if they didn't get a hand on that quick, it was going to spread like wildfire. They already got a problem with crystal meth, and they can't stop it. But they know and think about it, they know exactly where the drug houses in the black community are. But long as he's selling it to the community, they know that we're gonna stay in that box. But if there's some kind of way you can stop that guy from selling it in the community, and it's kind of hard because that's his only way of survival. Okay. Even if it means to tear down his own people, he is to the point he's willing to sacrifice his own people just so he can survive to see another day because of the system that we're up under.
Wow.
And when you look at what it is, most of these rappers rap about this crap and they ain't never smoked a joint a day in their life. But it's your kids out there playing in ditches, and it's us, people like me and you, who got to sleep with one eye open because the Negroes down the street, they kids are untamable. You don't know if they coming in through the back door while you trying to sleep or what.
Exactly.
Like
the other day, I was privy to a conversation, and then a dude said, well, go online and you can read it for yourself. I used to do music back in the days, and it was in the industry a little bit. And the guy was talking about The Baby, the new rapper that came out, The Baby, that sang the song Suge.
Yeah.
In one of his songs, he tells his brother, we're gonna get this money, and we're gonna send our kids to better schools, and we're gonna make our kids do better than what we do. And,
Right.
and I kind of paraphrase the statement. Do you know that a lot of the rappers and a lot of other people were saying, "Oh, he's not gonna sell his records. They're not gonna sell because we don't believe in that." They want him to talk about killing everybody, but he wants his kids to go to a better school and have a better chance. And people were saying that's going to cause his record sales to drop
Of course.
because he wants to do better.
If you're not talking about tearing down the black community, then it's no money for you. Or say it.
Calling the women hoes and bitches and all that stuff, then that don't sell.
And
Yeah.
then you got to look at something else too now. Let's look at these rappers for just a second, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Can you name me 5 white rappers whose message is identical to Trinidad James or Trick Daddy's? Take your time. And the reason why, and you'll be sometime next week. We can say, oh, well, you got Lil White and Eminem.
You got
But look at how they muted Eminem when Eminem made that one song about killing his baby mama. All the white population went up in arms. They was like, "Hey, wait, who is he talking about?" Eminem made a song talking about beating up his baby mama because she wouldn't let him. Marshall Mathers is his name.
Yeah.
And one thing about Eminem, he was calling the baby mama name. He was making a direct threat through music about killing this woman because of his daughter. We can go back right now on YouTube.
Yeah.
And you can hear all of his music where he done blatantly threatened his baby mama, and that boy ain't did a day in jail for it yet.
That's commercial success.
Yeah, but here it is.
But if you do it,
long as I talk about dogging out black women, I want them dancing up on something, or you talking about the stuff that she do in the bedroom, it's okay. But think about it. That's still somebody's mother, somebody's auntie, somebody's daughter, somebody's niece, somebody's granddaughter. We don't treat our women with the same level of respect that they do, any other race of people do. Monica Lewinsky, everybody know what Monica Lewinsky did that was wrong. And people went at Bill Clinton like he was the only one that was wrong for doing it. So you mean to tell me that Monica didn't know that Hillary Clinton was Bill Clinton's wife walking around the White House?
now she made a tweet the other day now.
Yeah.
She made a tweet, and the tweet was, "Do you need me to go take care of the situation with Donald Trump?"
Wow.
And it was kind of crazy. I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And it was crazy. Now I don't know what white women do or black women do, but for you to have sex with him, and he did it on your blouse, and you save it, you came out the door with an alternative motive.
That's right.
So that, and then let's put that to the side. Let's look at Clarence Thomas.
Right.
Clarence Thomas knew what he did, and what he did was kind of wrong, but then he turned right around, was one of the votes that trying to stop affirmative action, the same thing that got him into law school. All right. Then you got to look at what the new Secretary of Housing, Ben Carson, said. So the thing about this is, think about the way they talk about and the way they do it. We as people got to take ownership in what we do individually, and then we got to look at it as a collective. But the problem is this: if your child used to act up, and I see your child acting up,
You usually can whoop them.
tear that ass up.
But you know what?
Now, if your child acting up, I call you, you gonna cuss me out. Why you leave my child alone? My child, let him do what he want to do.
Right.
And
Now,
then your child probably cussing you out.
you said something a second ago. I want to go back a second.
Go back.
Clarence Thomas
Mm-hmm.
and Ben Carson,
Okay.
they have been around them for so long, they think like them. You have some black folks, and it's so sad. Ain't nothing worse than a black man with a European mind. I'm just telling you, that's the worst kind of Negro to deal with.
Say it again now.
A black man with a European mind is the most dangerous thing you could deal with.
Oh my God.
Because, and my good friend Squirrel used to say, I might be your color, but I'm not your kind. So they look like you, but they don't think like you. And it's hard to find them with the naked eye. You find them cats through their actions. So when you get a cat like Ben Carson, who came out of a single parent home and understand the struggle, but yet you get in a position to do something about it, and you become a bigger problem than the white boy that they had over you before you even came in. That's called self-hate. It's Clarence Thomas. Worked around them justices for so long that the only time he knew he was black is when he looked in the mirror. And he didn't forgot the struggle. You know, they did a movie about him and how he did his first wife. But and let's not get it twisted. You do have a lot of good white people out there, but you know what? We do, one thing about blacks is that we have to clean ourselves for the most part. Our race is so far divided. It's a race like no other. There is no unity whatsoever. Not really. Not unless we finna go pull a lick and rob something. You can get more people to come together on one accord if they want to smoke, dope, drink, and dance, as opposed to coming together to do something positive for the community. Wow. And it's so sad. And I'm looking at the news. Look at how they giving these brothers times right now. 319 years. How do you do a sentence for 319 years? You got to live, die, be born again, die, and be born again in order to do 319. Maybe you got to be born 4 times. You can't do it.
Unless you're Muhammad.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of crazy.
Well, on my question, since you jumped on that.
Yes, sir.
And you went there.
Yes, sir.
I gotta ask you 2 things. First, let's clarify the situation that happened in Texas.
Okay.
Okay. Now, a person asked me this question, and they were like, "Well, Chuck, I know you know." I said, "Well, Carolyn didn't raise no fool." My mama's always said, when she put something in front of you, read it, retain it, it'll come back. You'll need it later.
Yes, sir.
When they did the sentencing guidelines on what her name is, Geiger or Geiger. I can't think of the girl's name.
Yeah.
She didn't hit none of the marks. So they couldn't give her the whole situation that they wanted to give. Well, somebody said they should have gave her. Okay, they didn't charge her with trespassing.
Why not?
Because it was a mistake. She went to the wrong door.
We you know what? We got to cut the crap. You mean to tell me they got the same kind of furniture and their apartments are set up the same way?
Bruh, when they made one car, they made them all.
Yeah, but I refuse to believe that 2 people living in some apartment complexes got the same furniture. The house looks the same. They might look the same, but I guarantee you inside there should be some differences.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you got to.
Some call her out to let her know she wasn't in her apartment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And at some point,
yeah.
I don't care if you work 16 hours, 18 hours. Clearly his door wasn't closed. Because my question was, I know they don't all have the same locks. So how did you get in? Clearly his door wasn't closed. And sometimes, I've done it before where I have closed a door.
Okay, but hold on now. Back up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if the door wasn't closed, I got to give her credit in her behalf because somebody could have broke into her apartment. So I give her that point because if she opened the door and he didn't lock it, because she couldn't open the door with her key.
Right.
So she twisted the doorknob and went
open.
straight in. Okay, then that would have been. If I come to my house and I go through my door and they come in, okay, somebody in here.
Right.
Okay, so I give that point to her. But the question that I have to ask her is this, though. Okay, once she shot him, she didn't render aid. She made on a 911 call, she said, "Oh my God, I'm gonna lose my job." When she was crying on the 911 call. Okay, let's say it was all a mistake and it was a bad thing, whatever happened. By the standard of the law, she should have got more than 10 years.
I agree.
I said she should release 15 to 20.
Right.
On the average. But she got 5, and everybody was consoling her like, "Oh, you're going to be okay."
No. We're going to straighten that. Everybody went consoling her. It was just that idiotic brother and that judge. Because I didn't see his mama hugging that girl. But, she should have most definitely. She should have walked in with 20. because there's a couple of things. Number one, let's just pretend if she was black, do you think she would have got 10 years? No, she would have probably got the death penalty right there. She would have got, I tell you what.
But there's no such thing as a black police officer.
Oh, it's a dark police officer.
There's no such thing. It's a blue line. There's no such thing.
What you call it?
Okay, because they blue. They blue. Because when I was in the military, everybody in the military was military green.
I tell you what, if she had been some shades darker, the sentencing would have been a lot different. But the thing that catch me, and this is stuff that we don't want to talk about. But and it just goes to show you where we are in America when it pertains to racial issues. You know, can I bring it home for just a second?
Well, hold on before you go any further now. Hold on now.
Okay.
We got part two. Part two. The Smith gun situation.
That was why I wanted to bring it. That's why I wanted to bring it.
Okay.
Now, let me show y'all something. Let me show you how backwards Montgomery is. 15 years ago, a little over 15 years ago, there was a guy named Mario Woodrow that was involved in a shooting with a police officer downtown.
Allegedly.
But he was, and here's the thing. He was allegedly the one that shot and killed the police officer in Newtown, right?
Okay.
Before this man even went into court, his character was already assassinated. They had him marked as the cop killer. So walking into court, he was guilty fighting for his innocence. And that's one thing with black people. We walk in a courtroom dead on guilty. We're fighting for our innocence. But with white folks, they go in innocent and you got to about kill them to deem them guilty. So Mario Woodrow could not get a change of venue because his character was assassinated before he walked into the courtroom. They had already had him booked with some of the sorriest of lawyers. I believe the judges' minds were already made up before the trial even started. Okay. They allowed the newspaper to assassinate his character. He was assassinated. His character was assassinated in the streets. His character was assassinated at the Good Old Boys Club. So when he walked in, he really walked in without having a chance to see. He didn't have a chance for justice at all.
Was there ever an offer on the table for him to plead out?
I mean, why plea if you feel like you're not guilty? The man's character was assassinated before the trial even started. Why plea if you're not guilty? And that's another thing that we have to remember. If we didn't do it, we ain't got nothing to plea for. Like you said before, allegedly, which means you got the state of the proof of burden is on the state. Now, let's flip it over just a little bit. Aaron Cody Smith straight out shoots Greg Gunn 5 times. Even you're a military man. Y'all are taught to hit your enemy 2 to 3 times and drop them. Mm-hmm. Anything over 3 is an assassin. It's an overkill.
You wasting government bullets.
You're wasting bullets, or AKA an assassination. Okay. So Greg Gunn he gets shot 5 times by Aaron Cody Smith. Aaron Cody Smith is placed on administrative leave with pay. And he's still getting paid right now. And the crazy part about it, he wants his trial moved because he feel like he can't get a fair trial in Montgomery. But here's the thing. The crime took place in Montgomery, so why can't you be tried in Montgomery? Mario Woodrow didn't get that kind of chance. They didn't give him that option. Matter of fact, when he even tried to appeal, it was denied. He just tried to appeal the death penalty. Yeah. It was denied. Mm-hmm. But here it is. We have judges recusing themselves from this case with Aaron Cody because they don't want to be the one to do their job. And I think they want to get the trial moved to somewhere like Elmore County.
What am I asking a question? Before we go. The judges recuse themselves. Are these judges appointed or are they elected?
They are elected.
Okay, so now they're elected and they did this. Then I got to go back to the people that elected them. Because if you're the same judge that won't do your job when there's a cop supposedly, allegedly killed an unarmed man, I don't know the whole case.
Right.
Okay, we're not going to try it in the media, but if you recuse yourself from that job because you don't want to get your hands dirty
then you
or
need
do
to
your
step
job,
down.
Then you need not be, don't even run for election next year.
But you know what? The reason why and it's kind of crazy, they understand you could. Everybody in the U.S. know that you could do whatever you want to do to black people and get away with it. There is no way.
Wow.
There is no way. If the shoe was on the other foot, if that was Ernest Chief Finley, and he shot some old straggling white guy, he would have been tried by now. He would have definitely been found guilty by now. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
It would have been a black judge to do it to him. You ain't have to wait for a white judge. A black judge would have pulled the trigger on him.
Now the guy up in Minnesota, the police officer that killed the lady that was running down the alley, screaming and hollering, they just found him guilty, a police officer, but he was Somalian police officer.
He wasn't white, was he?
No, he was black.
Okay.
Okay, they found him, but then the guy that shot Philando Steele in the car, and the guy said, "I'm reaching for my wallet," and the guy shot him, was nervous.
Yeah.
This is the problem that I have. They have made the color black a weapon.
They have.
And the white person say they're scared of you or they're fearful of you and don't know what you're going to do because you're black and you're dangerous. Now, the problem I have with that is this. A lot of blacks are dangerous.
Are
a lot
black
of whites
people
are
really dangerous? Chuck, let's talk about
No,
that.
a lot of whites are dangerous. A lot of blacks are dangerous.
We will not do this to our people.
No. Listen, listen what I'm saying. A lot of blacks are dangerous. A lot of whites are dangerous.
I disagree.
It's across the board. People are people. They do what they're going to do. You can't come in and say, well, I see that guy, he's black,
Right.
he's dangerous.
Right.
Okay, you got to know, like I've been places where a person will lock their door and grab their purse, and I bust out laughing. I tell them, man, I probably got more money than you got, and I'm scared of you.
They do it to me all the time.
And I laugh at them, and they're like, And I've had people just do that kind of stuff. Like the other day, I was in the bank
Yeah.
paying the mortgage, standing in line. White guy walks in. He asked one black guy in front of me, "You in line?" He said, "Yeah." Then he stepped behind him. I said, "Hey, I'm behind him." "No, you're not." I said, "Sir, I'm standing here." "No, you're not." I said, "You gonna just, So he goes off on me. "You take your black butt, blah, 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 blah." I'm saying, "Oh, woo, woo." So he tells me he will knock my fat out. I say, "Okay, it's funny." Now, the black guy that was behind me, was in front of me, we was talking. He went to the window, did his thing. I'm standing beside him and the white guy. The black guy look at me and stare at me and walk off. Then the bank teller comes out and say, "Sir, I'm not going to have y'all in here." I say, "Man, I'm in line. I've been waiting in line." He said, "I'm calling the police." Right then, I say, "Oop, if I leave,
You're guilty.
Yep.
I'm guilty. He's going to give his narrative." So I stood there. Police walked in the door. I handed him my ID. He said, "What's this for?" I say, "Here's my ID." So the white guy immediately started talking. Blah, 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 blah. This guy, blah, blah, blah. He said, "Well, step outside." A white guy was sitting over there that works at Brewbreaker.
Uh-huh.
He was waiting. He walked to me. He said, "Bruh, stand your ground. You right." He said, "Disrespectful." He went outside and told the police. Police came back in, told the white guy, "If you come back on this property, we're going to charge you with trespassing." And the white police came and said, "Sir, I'm sorry, sir, that you had to deal with this, but all of us not like that." And he was a white cop.
I mean, but it's the persona that has been given. But I want to take you up on something that you said.
Okay.
You said that black people are dangerous.
No.
What was the word?
No. I say some are dangerous and some white folks are dangerous.
Now, can I want to dissect.
So it's some Indians. So it's some
Yeah.
Mexicans. So I mean, you can't.
Everybody's
dangerous.
we got some dangerous people in
But
all
you
races.
should not I don't have a smiley face. I've always been away. You should not walk into a room and see a black person and immediately be in fear.
Man, that's
That
how
is
they
bull.
do though.
That's bull.
But you know what? We have allowed that persona. Just like when they see, I want to share a couple things with you because you said something. I want to go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about being dangerous, and I want us to specify something real quick. See, when blacks kill, 9 times out of 10, we know who we killing, and we know what we killing them for. We've been into it back and forth. Somebody you know. It never fails. 9 times out of 10. We can't say the same for others. You know, Billy lose his job. He'll drive 20 miles down the road, walk up in a Ruby Tuesdays, and add everything out that's sitting up in there. And then the first thing they holler is they crazy, and they get all the sympathy in the world. But we don't get that. You know, we shoot one person because we were into it over $20. The paper then deemed us to be a thug. That's number
All
one.
right. Okay, you remember the guy that shot at the post office?
That was my cousin.
Okay, he was a vet.
That's right. I was definitely say he's a military vet who
Okay.
could not get the medical treatment that he needed.
No, he was getting treatment, but when they filed the case, they would not let his lawyer use the information from the VA because they wanted to say, well, we're going to send him to our own because they were saying his issue with PTSD was not that severe. Now, the
Of
white
course
boy,
they gonna say that.
the white boy that shot over by Maxwell, they go to his house, do a standoff, let the boy get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, then they take him out. He goes down to Mobile for treatment. The other guy, he got what, 10 years?
Right.
Okay, 10 years for PTSD, and all he kept saying was, tell the supervisor to leave me alone. And the guy kept picking on him. The guy kept messing with him. Because when they finally broke up over, and they got permission to use his medical record for his appeal, all that came out. So the lawyer he had was not a good lawyer. That's number one.
We're just used to that being. The law was not written for us. It's not that he didn't get a good lawyer. At the end of the day, the law, justice has eyes. I don't care what anybody say. Justice has eyes, and the odds are not in our favor.
When you talk about Tyler Perry wearing a dress, technically, Lady Justice is not a lady. It's a man. It's a man. So when we talk about Tyler Perry and doing all that dress wearing, let's talk about the justice system, because behind that dress is a grown man, and these laws are made by old white men.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and if you are a black lawyer or a judge and you're trying to overdo this, you're going about the wrong way because you got to follow the rules. You need to be lawyers and you need to be lobbying with these law changes.
Right.
Until we get an effective leadership,
I mean,
then we can't change nothing.
and we're so far behind, man. It's gonna take a few lifetimes. But I wanna go.
No, it don't. No, it don't. Don't take a few lifetimes. What it takes is this. When people say Obama got in office, he did nothing for blacks. People got to realize Obama, Stephen Reed, and any other, Mayor Langford, or any other black politician that's in office is in office for the people.
Right.
Everybody. We got to stop saying he's our leader, and you're a preacher.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to come to you for healing, understanding, and some guidance when it comes to the Bible and religion. But I'm not going to come to you and say, Willie, you're my leader. Take me to your... No, I'm not. I don't belong in a tribe.
But you know what, though? I want to stop you right there.
Go ahead.
Because you have that right. You know why?
Mm-hmm.
Chuck, we've never been represented. Never. So to sit back and say, you know, at some point, it's okay to be a tad bit selfish. We've been victimized by this system since we got off the boat. Why can't we ask for something for us? When did it become... Everybody else is getting something. The Indians are getting money for what happened to them, but we can't get nothing. Matter of fact, they just had a thing on the table about reparations to blacks for what happened to them. Man, it was systematic what happened to our people. You know what? When you see somebody that look like you in leadership position, it is your God-given right to go to them and to try to ask them to help you, because nobody else is.
So
I want to go back to something else you said.
Hold on. So let's say they got reparations on the table, and they come up with these rules for you to get it. All right, here's going to be one of the questions that they had that people ask. How can you tell me which one of your ancestors was actually a slave on this certain plantation?
It ain't for you to tell them. They know it. They can look at you and tell. And that's the thing.
But here's the catch, though.
Uh-huh.
When they went to the Jews, they did that. They went to the Indians, they did that. They asked for lineage, and they asked for the situation.
We have been tattooed and screwed. Nobody's lineage and heritage have been tainted like ours. See, one thing about the Indians, they killed them, and it was very little mixing. Everything else but us. What happened to us has never happened to no other race of people. You cannot go back and trace it. I want to go back to something else that you said earlier. We were talking about single men. You said something about single men and single women and how the world views them. You know.
Yeah, that wasn't me, but go ahead.
Yeah, it was.
I said
That's
single-
why I said. That's why I said I
said
wanted.
single women, single
we were
men.
talking about. We were talking about men and women at the time, and we were talking about Monica Lewinsky.
Oh, okay.
And I want to bring something to your attention. Now, with our women and our men, we're not even viewed the same in the eyes of the world. And what do I mean by that? A white woman, a Mexican woman, a Korean woman, a Venezuelan woman, a Colombian woman can have 2 and 3 kids. The world will assume that those kids were from her husband. A black woman can have 2 kids, and they're going to ask her, do they have the same daddy? Because that's the way the world perceives us. You can see me with all 5 of my kids.
Well, I wouldn't say the world. I would say the United States. I would say the United States.
Okay.
Because
the United States.
Because when you go overseas in Germany and you go in, they don't ask you who your father or your mother is. They look at, let me see your passport. They keep it moving.
Yeah, but not here.
Here they ask
how
that
many
question.
baby daddies you have? You know, and don't y'all think that's a bit offensive? You know, you mean it? And what that's telling me subliminally is that America don't see black women as wife material. That's what that tells me. And that bothers me because I have all girls. And I'm not raising my girls to be freaks. I'm raising them to be wife material. You know, we're not raising them to be promiscuous street runners. All of mine are they're in school. They're being raised with dignity. They're being given respect from me. So that's what they're going to look from in a husband, not a wife. Okay. I'm not raising mine with that alternative crap either. You know, I want my girls to grow up to be a wife and a mother. You know, I want them to be educated, a wife and a mother. That's my dream. But the way that the world has them, when it pertains to black women, they're not looked at the same way as every other woman. They automatically assume that she gonna be a freak, a scallywag. She gonna be a street runner. She gonna have babies by everybody she see.
Loud and obnoxious.
Say it again.
I said loud and obnoxious.
But now, I understand where you're coming from, but look at what we're doing now. Look at what's going on. Because,
what's going on?
Because a lot of them, not I would say a lot of them, but there's some out there that's in that predicament. But
why?
It comes from the core, the family core. We got to get back to we got to eliminate the system that breaks up a family. Like, okay, good example. A woman needs assistance. She goes get assistance. The first thing they tell you is the husband in the house. No, but the husband's not doing what he's supposed to do. On some cases, so the wife say, "Well, I got to get rid of you to take care of my kids." So the sister say, "Well, your husband can't live with you, and we give you this help." Okay, boom. Once they do that, then that's automatically bringing up because this food stamp and all this other stuff they got, the system,
right?
It drives a wedge. But then that man has to fight for his family. He has to be there. He has to want to have his family.
Let's look at that. Men need to step up to the plate. I'm gonna put it where it needs to be.
Okay.
But a lot, and nobody wants to be the one to say it, so I'll say it. A lot of these women have messed up these little young boys, so they can't be men. They don't know what it is to be like a man.
What you mean mess them up?
I mean, they messed up. A lot of them don't really have that relationship with their dad. Some of these women have made babies with men that have no business reproducing.
Well, hold on now. You're sitting next to a woman.
I am, but hold on.
Okay.
I'm not just going to tear down. I'm going to build up.
No. I ain't saying build up, but you're sitting next to a woman.
Yes, sir.
Okay. When a woman goes out and looks for a mate.
And that's mistake number one, because she's not supposed to be looking for nothing. The Bible said, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. So right there, you messing up from the jump. She has no business in looking for anything. She's supposed to carry herself with respect
and modest.
And she's supposed to,
right,
so that the right man can come along. But what do we have? We have women that will solicit themselves any kind of way just to get some attention. Then you get the wrong attention, and the worst thing happened. You end up making a child with this guy. And the fact of the matter is, we mess around And we try to turn a one-night stand into a relationship, and it does not work out. But nobody want to be the one to tell that woman to cat. First and foremost, if you showing me everything you got, I'm not gonna take you serious. As a matter of fact, I'm not gonna even really talk to you because in the back of my mind, you probably got something. You can't look and tell if a person got AIDS. You can't look and tell if that woman on birth control. You don't know if she done had chlamydia.
You gotta use your earwax.
Yeah, but you know, and the thing about it, you make a baby with that person. Now you have a situation. And because you didn't have a real tight relationship with that man from the beginning, now you got a bastard child in this world. Mm-hmm. We don't want to talk about it, but let's talk about it. That child grows up. They call it a fatherless child, a bastard child. And that child, if he don't have a relationship with his father, there's nobody to teach him how to be a man. Now my daughter, she, he definitely ain't gonna come to my house because what I don't need is somebody to come and move in with my daughters that she got to take care of. A real man takes care of his woman and his family. These guys you see nowadays moving into their girlfriend's house, you can't be a man in the house, but be the man of the house. If you're the man of the house, you're taking care of that house. There's a difference in having a man in the house and a man of the house. A lot of our women got men in the house, but not a man of the house. Especially if you land next to somebody, you got to figure out how you gonna pay the bills.
Well, Mr. Mr. Knight.
I heard him, huh?
I don't want to cut you off, but I gotta cut you off. We gotta. Hey, look. I need some more of this. We all need some more of this. So as of right now, I mean, I got to cut you off. I got to cut you off. But we're gonna continue this discussion at a later date.
Okay.
And I would love to have y'all back. And next time, Miss Nikki, I'm gonna have it set up where you ain't gotta share a microphone with that dude over there.
Okay, cause baby, he's so long-winded.
Cause that dude over there is something awful.
Okay, so long-winded.
Something awful. So I'm gonna take care of you. I promise I'm gonna take care of you. And we're gonna make this thing work. And like I said, I love having y'all here. I want y'all to come back. Matter of fact, come back as many times as you want to, because this is something that needs to be said and heard, and it's something needs to be. And I'm gonna tell you something, and people don't get mad about this. Facebook will knock you off and cut you down and throw it away if you're speaking on what you call it. But the way I'm set up, they can't stop it. It's gonna be everywhere. And if you want a copy of this and any other segments, you can always just email me, and we can get it back, and we can give it to anybody who wants to. We can post it, we can share it, we can YouTube it, and it's going to be available to everybody. But in the meantime, between time, like I said, I love having you guys here. Please come back again. And everybody, you've been a blessing to have you here. And you guys been listening to True Issues. Thank you.
True Issues, savagely unbiased. Welcome to the jungle. Next issue, Unc loves you all.
The Union Music Group, baby.
These opinions are not paid for. True issues, savagely unbiased.